ॐ दक्षिणस्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्ण पाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We have completed 3 years of this intense study of Vedanta. From the year 2020, June, we started. And we started with Bhagavad Gita. And then I took up Viveka Chudamani. Then we studied together the Upanishad, that is the Kathopanishad. And in the last few weeks, we have been studying the Advaita Stotras of Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya. And all these texts, in this particular order and this particular manner, they were actually indicated, instructed, and blessed by our Parama Puja Sadyojata Shankarashrama Swamiji to go in this particular order. And now, Puja Swamiji has instructed me and blessed me to continue the study of Vedanta, where from today, for the next few weeks, we are going to study together another Upanishad called as the Mundakopanishad. Mundaka Upanishad or Mundakopanishad. Normally, in the Gurukulam tradition, the study of Upanishads is started with Mundakopanishad. We start with Mundakopanishad after having completed the preliminary texts such as the Tattvabodha, the Atmabodha, and simultaneously as we are doing Bhagavad Gita, we study the Mundakopanishad. Why is it done so? Mundakopanishad is considered to be, it's not as if it's a simple Upanishad, no. It also is an Upanishad which talks about the same core teaching of Vedanta, but then the Upanishad is shorter. At the same time, it is very simple, it is very direct, and it deals with the entire journey of the Mumukshu, starting from the parampara of Brahmavidya and the glorification of Brahmavidya and whatever are the preparations necessary for this Brahmavidya. And then gradually it builds up step by step to finally the Mahavakya Vichara, that is Jiva Brahma Abheda. But then we digressed a little from this system and we took Kathopanishad first because Bhagavad Gita was still very, very new and familiar to us. And then because Bhagavad Gita has lot of verses from Kathopanishad, and though Kathopanishad is longer than Mundakopanishad, Kathopanishad also is not a very difficult Upanishad. It also goes along the lines of Mundakopanishad in its simplicity and also in developing the Brahma Vidya in a very, very systematic manner. The teaching of Brahma Vidya in a very, very systematic manner. So we took up the Kathopanishad first. since it has a very interesting beginning also with the story of Nachiketa, which probably, you know, attracts people towards that particular Upanishad, and that's how we took that particular Upanishad. Now we are going to start with the second Upanishad for our study, which is called as the Mundakopanishad. We'll come to this. What is this Upanishad? To which particular Veda it belongs? All that will come a little later. I want to first start with a basic introduction to what is the need for an Upanishadic study. What is an Upanishad? We have already seen that in Katopanishad, but every Upanishad, when we study, we have to go through this basic introductory process of what is an Upanishad, what is its content, who needs this Upanishad, and what is the benefit of any Upanishad. This is something which all of us have to revise every time we study a new Upanishad. So let us do this for Mundaka Upanishad also. Now, a human jiva is very different from all the other jivas. See, the other jivas like the plants, the sthavara jivas, the animals which are also the jangama jivas, we, the human beings, are also the jangama jivas. It's moving jivas who have a movement, who move from one place to the other. There is one very common, there are few very common things which are there for all the jivas. That is a desire to protect oneself, to strengthen oneself and look for food so that one is physically strengthened, the body is strengthened, security. Everyone, every jiva wants security. Every jiva wants to grow and be safe, the safety and security. Then every jiva has nidra, sleep, where there is a lot of renovation, restoration of the physical structure of the body. Then all the jivas, including the plants and animals, have a desire to propagate their genus, propagate their, whatever they are, they want to propagate themselves and then continue to live through the propagated species, the propagated genus. These are the very common, the most common, the basic desires and the needs for every jiva. But then a human jiva is very different from the other jivas. From the other sthavara jivas and jangama jivas, the human jiva is very different because the human jiva has a capacity to think, a capacity to abstractly think, not just think. Abstract thinking is possible, choice is possible, and a human jiva can think of the consequence. This is what is called as abstract thinking. What is an abstract thinking? It means that what are the possibilities, what are the probabilities, I want this particular thing, how can I go through this, how can I get to that goal? It's only a human jiva which has the capacity to set a goal. It's only the human jiva who has the capacity to think as to how to reach that goal, which is called as the abstract thinking. It is only the human jiva which can alter its thinking depending upon the inputs that the jiva gets from its sense organs. And lastly, a human jiva can have pursuits of individual pursuit of it his own. Every jiva has his or her own individual pursuits. That is not possible in animals or plants. They have no free will. We have a free will. That is what is meant by choice. When I have a choice, it means I have a free will to choose. I want this, I don't want this. If I don't want this, why I don't want this? If I want this, why I want this? So this particular choice is there because of free will. How much we have that free will, what is the extent of the free will, is something that is something beyond the scope of what we are going to deal with now. How much of a free will does a human being have? Is it purely destiny, Or is it only free will? Or is it a combination of the two? There are a lot of discussions over this. Let us not worry about it. Let us only understand that a jiva, a human jiva, has free will. To what extent one has a free will, that we cannot say. We have, to some extent, we have a free will to decide upon what we want to do, whether that is the right decision or not, whether that decision is going to lead us to the right goal or not, that we do not know. But we have a choice, and we have a free will to choose whatever we want. This free will is not there in the animals and in the plants. They are programmed. They are absolutely programmed to go through a particular lifespan in a particular way. Even a human jiva does not have any control over his lifespan, but during his or her lifespan, a human jiva has some extent of free will which gives a choice and the capacity to pursue that particular choice. This particular thing where a human being can pursue a particular goal is called as a purushartha. Purushartha means a human pursuit, the pursuit of a human jiva. And because a human jiva has a choice, there are four pursuits which are given. All the pursuits, the millions of choices that we make in our lives, from the time we are capable of thinking and making a choice for ourselves, from that time till we are capable of making a choice, the end of our life, we have made millions of choices. Whether they're right or wrong is not the issue here. We have made. Many times our choices might have led us to the right goal. Many times we might have regretted our choices as to why did I do that? I should not have done that. Why did I not do that? I should have not done that. Why should I have done that? Why did I not do that? Kimaham papam akaravam. Kimaham sadhu na akaravam. An Upanishad called Taittiriya Upanishad says that at the time of death, it seems most of the jivas have this particular thing. Why did I do that? Why did I not do that? I should have done something good. I should have chosen something better, but it's already over. At the time of making a choice, I made the choice depending upon whatever inputs I had at that particular time. And then the same shastra, our own, the shastra, which is nothing but the body of knowledge, which we call Vedas, says that a human jiva has these four pursuits or four purusharthas. That means all our pursuits can be divided into these four basic purusharthas. Artha purushartha, kama purushartha, dharma purushartha, and moksha purushartha. We have sufficiently discussed about these purusharthas earlier also. In Viveka Chudamani also we have discussed about the purushartha. In Bhagavad Gita we have discussed about the purushartha nishchaya. Bhagwan Shankaracharya's stotras, Advaita stotras started with Bhajagovindam, which means may you choose the right purushartha. So we have talked sufficiently about purushartha. And what do our scriptures say? The scriptures or the Vedas don't find anything wrong with whichever Purushartha we select. The Vedas have their independent portions called as the Veda Purva or the Karma Kanda, which talks about how to attain the Artha Kama Dharma Purusharthas, but dharmically. So, what is an Artha Purushartha? रक्ष्यार्थे अर्थ्यते इति अर्थः. Raksharthe. For the sake of feeling safe and protecting myself, I go after certain resources. Raksharthe or Rakshartham. Okay. Then it is Arthyate. I want something, go after something. That is called as Artha. And by going after various resources, whatever it is, education, money, job, property, what all the things that I own, think which I own may give me security. This is what is called as the Artha Purushartha. Then there is a Kama Purushartha. Kamartham Kamyate iti Kama Purushartha. I want to fulfill certain desires. Just fulfilling the basic needs of my life and basic living is not enough for me. I'm not happy with that. I want to fulfill certain other Purusharthas, certain other Kamas, certain other desires. And then I go after fulfilling them, Kama Purushartha. Then I also feel after all these things, once I die, what will happen to me? I know that I'm going to come back somewhere. So if I come back in my next life, let me go to higher lokas. Let me earn enough punya so that I go to better lokas after death. Or if I come back to this particular sphere of life, like on the earth, let me have good surroundings by which I can live happily. Therefore, I want to attain punya. I want to attain merits by doing some good things. And that is what is called as Dharma Purushartha, where I want to accrue or accumulate merits or punya so that my afterlife or my coming back again is either in a better world or a higher world or in the same world with better facilities, better conditions of living or whatever it is. So that is Dharma Purushartha. Then the last one is different from these three, where the Shastra or our Vedas say, see, your Artha Purushartha, Kama Purushartha, and Dharma Purushartha are going to give you the phalas which are temporary. They are anitya phalas. All these karma phalas are making you to come back again and again into the cycle of birth and death. So I'm back into the samsara again. I come back into the samsara again and again and again. I might have come with a lot of punya to this world again. But do I keep quiet? No. I do more karmas. Many of those karmas which I do may attract papa phalas, papa karma phalas. Possible. It's possible. So what happens? I keep on accruing more and more and more phalas. I do more and more karma. Once I come back here, I have a body mind sense complex. Can I keep quiet? Will I keep quiet? No, I'll do karmas. I'll go on doing actions. All those actions are going to give me the appropriate phala. Therefore, what happens? The karma phalas are anitya. Whatever punya I have gained with the experience of the punya phala, every time my punya is coming down. It is said that if you go to Swarga with a lot of punya you do in this life, and in the next life after your death, you go to, you are there in some higher world, Pitraloka, Gandharva Loka, or Deva Loka, whatever it is. There are different, uh, realms of experiences called as lokas. But then there, we have to pay. We have to pay in the currency of our punya. So every minute, the currency of our punya is getting exhausted. And when our punya that we have earned gets exhausted, we come back to this Manusha Loka again, depending upon whatever kind of prarabdha is fructifying. You remember Bhagavad Gita? Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam kshine punye martyalokam vishanti. So after you have completely, like your all your punya is spent in whichever world you are, whichever loka you go to, kshine punye, when the punya exhausts itself, martyaloke vishanti. I come back again to build up my stock of punya and papa. So what has happened? Artha and Kama and Dharma, ultimately what have they given? They have given me anitya phalas. The punya phala is anitya. And I come back again and again. It is samsara. Whichever loka I come back, even in this loka, if I come back into an excellent surrounding, that is also a bondage. So coming back into this life again and again itself is a bondage. So all these three purusharthas can be grouped under one, which are only going to give me material results. They are material results. And what does Veda Purva say? That is the Karma Kanda of the Vedas or Veda Purva. What does it say? It says it's fine. You fulfill all your desires for Artha Kama. You do whatever you want to do to accrue Punya. But I will guide you how to go about it because you don't know. I will guide you and I will see that you get what you want without transgressing dharma, without going outside dharma. So I will tell you how to go about it. But at the same time, the Veda Purva also has another intention. And what does Veda Purva say? Hey Manusha, hey Jiva, hey human Jiva, understand one thing. What you are doing now in Artha Kama Dharma Purusharthas is basically for happiness. That is the basic thing. Happiness. Somewhere you are incomplete in yourself. Somewhere you do not know where to look for that missing joy or missing happiness in you. You have everything. You may have everything, but there is something missing. Don't we hear this? People saying this very frequently. It seems most of the gurus have people coming with this particular, problem. That's what many of the gurus, Vedanta gurus say. When the disciples come to them, they say, Swamiji, I have got everything. I can't complain about anything. I have everything. But there's some kind of there's something missing in my life. There's something which is gnawing at me. There is some kind, I feel that there is something, there is always a sense of incompleteness. And that's true, all of us have experienced it. I'm sure every one of us who's listening to me now have experienced it. We may not have something and experience the absence of it is something else. Even when everything is there, whatever is needed, I may have that feeling that there is something missing in me. There is some deficiency in me. There is some apurnatvam in me. And therefore, what do I do? Veda Purva says, to fulfill that apurnatvam, you go more and more and more after Artha Kama Dharma Purusharthas. The more you go after them, the more you accrue Papa Punyas, and the more your incompleteness is there. So Veda Purva itself makes us understand that your pursuit of looking for this fulfillment and completeness and happiness outside you in the pursuit of Artha, Kama, and Dharma Purusharthas is absolutely temporary. All the ananda that you get from these Purusharthas is what is called as the Vishaya Ananda. Something else is giving you happiness and fulfillment. Vishaya Ananda. But then there is something which is within you, which is capable of giving that everlasting Ananda. If you feel that the objects of the world outside, the Artha Kama Dharma Purusharthas are giving you happiness, Purnatvam, no. It is only a reflection of something which is already there in you. And ultimately, no ananda derived from any of these purusharthas is going to fulfill you. The deficiency will always be there. Therefore, hey Manusha Jiva, I will prepare you as Veda Purva with all the karmas and upasanas that you have to do. I will prepare you for understanding that Ananda which is in you. But what is that Ananda? How to understand that? Why is it that I'm not able to understand me as the very source of that Ananda? For that, you'll have to go to the next, step called as the Vedanta. So, what does Veda Purva do? It helps me in fulfilling my Purusharthas of Artha, Kama, Dharma, and make me realize one day or the other, after several lives, that ultimately I'm in the same state. Nothing has changed. I'm accruing things, Artha Purusharthas I'm fulfilling, Kama Purusharthas I'm fulfilling, making or accruing enough of Punya. I've done enough of, touring of all the lokas, but am I happy ultimately? Whatever happiness I have found is very anityam, atruptikaratvam, and I'm more and more bound to the world to fulfill me. And when I realize that, I want to find that ananda or that fulfillment which is going to give me that which I'm actually looking for. I'm actually looking for that ananda or fulfillment or completeness or purnatvam, but I don't know what gives me that purnatvam. Because of my ignorance of what gives me that purnatvam, I go looking for it where it is not. I go looking for it in places where those things only reflect my own, whatever is there in me. And what do our scriptures say? That ananda that you are looking for, which gives you that fulfillment, is ultimately within you. It is you. It is the Atma Ananda, Brahma Ananda, Swarupa Ananda. You are of the very nature of that Ananda, and you cannot find it outside. Whatever you have found outside, that Ananda, Lesha Matram Api, it is not there in the objects of the world. All the objects of the world, the people of the world, the situations of the world are only going to reflect your own Ananda. And that reflection is a small part of that which you within yourself have. Like the dog and the bone, you've heard of that story. A dry bone, it is as dry as a bone. And the dog bites on that, goes on biting over it, and then it enjoys the taste of blood. That dry bone does not have a drop of blood or marrow in it. But the dog thinks that the bone is what is giving it the taste of the blood. But that blood is coming from its own mouth. That is the problem with us when we depend on Vishaya Ananda. It is a small reflection of our own Atmananda. So, what does Vedanta say? The purpose of Veda Purva is over here. The Veda Purva tells us, okay, right now you are not prepared to understand what it is really to have the fulfillment. At present, you are still immature, and then I will tell you how to fulfill all your desires. But I hope one day you will understand that no amount of karma and upasana is going to completely release me from this incompleteness. But I prepare you. I prepare your mind. Karma yogena chittash karma. I make you understand how to do that karma with karma yoga bhavana. With karma yoga, I will give you chitta shuddhi. With upasana, done with the attitude of upasana yoga, I will give you chitta naichalyam. So Veda Purva has its own purpose. Veda Purva is not useless. How I use Veda Purva? If I use Veda Purva as a chitta shuddhi, that which gives me chitta shuddhi, and that which gives me chitta naishchalyam, prepare my intellect for the next step, Vedanta. Then the Veda Purva itself says, now you are ready for Vedanta. After having seen that all my Purusharthas, Artha, Kama, Dharma Purusharthas, have not really led me to what I want actually. Okay, and then what do I understand? That the Shastras say, if you really want to know what that Ananda is, what that Atma Ananda is, it is something which is got not by doing anything. It is something which is got by understanding. At present, you don't see yourself as the very Ananda Swarupa, as the very source of Ananda, because of ignorance, because of avidya, because of Mula Avidya. You don't know that you are that very Ananda which you are looking for. And what does Vedanta say? Vedanta says that there is nothing more for you to do. And if now your search has come to know what that Ananda is, I am there to help you. That is Vedanta. So Vedanta says that you can understand and you can come to terms, you can see for yourself what that Ananda is, not by doing anything, but by understanding, by removing the ignorance that I am limited, that I know I have to look for happiness outside. That limitation is removed by knowledge. Whatever was blocking me from knowing myself, the ignorance, Vedanta removes it. And what does Vedanta say? You have to become a mumukshu first. You have to understand that this desire of mine for Ananda, this desire for completeness, Purnatvam, is not getting fulfilled. Where can I find it? I want freedom from this ever gnawing incompleteness. And then I want to find out what it is. I want to be free from this samsara of becoming. I want to be free from this samsara of going after something. I want to be free from this samsara of fulfilling myself all the time with so many things and ultimately coming back to that same unfulfilled state. I want freedom from this particular unfulfilled apurnatvam. This is what is called as mumukshutvam. What is mumukshutvam? Mumuksha moktum icha. I want freedom from this samsara. What is this samsara? Samsara means what? Samsarati. Comes back again and again and again. This is what is called as samsara. And what is my samsara? Coming back again and again into this cycle of birth and death. Doing the same things all over again and again. Thinking that that is going to give me happiness, peace and security. Because I don't know where to look for them. I keep looking for them outside. I'm fed up of this. This particular shloka, this particular mantra comes in this Upanishad we are going to study, the Mundakopanishad. I am going very slow in this particular Upanishad because I want to go deeper into in Kathopanishad probably, being the first Upanishad, I was not going very, very deep into whatever Upanishad was saying. I did justice to that, but in this Upanishad, I want to go deeper into what Vedanta really wants us to understand. Behind those lines of the mantras of the Upanishad, what is it that really the Upanishad is wanting us to know? Therefore, I'm taking so much time in the introductory session itself. I don't want to straight away go into the Upanishad. That's not the way. We have to build up this tempo. We have to build up whatever is the preparation needed for us to start even the very first verse of the Upanishad. Therefore, for understanding that what I'm looking for, this freedom from a limited feeling, to understand that it seems like I have heard from my other, gurus and other people, I have heard that there is something called as a Atma, which is Ananda Swarupa. I want to know about it. How to know about it? Whom should I go to? What should I do? Then the Shastra says Vedanta is that particular section of the Vedas which is going to give me this particular knowledge by which my ignorance is gone. Vedanta doesn't give me anything new. It only tells me where I'm going wrong. It only removes my ignorance, after which the reality of myself, the swarupam of myself, shines by itself. This is the very purpose of Vedanta. And Vedanta is also called as Upanishad. So when I have realized that all my repeated lives have led me nowhere, I'm starting all over again and again and repeating the same things, and I really want to get out of this cycle. And I want to really see what is it that frees me from this cycle of incompleteness, wanting to become, wanting to be somewhere else. That very wanting. Sometimes what we want also we don't know. We want something. We are lacking something. What is it that you want? I don't know. But there is always a sense of lacking. There is a sense of melancholy. I'm not at all happy in spite of everything. This is the experience of all of us. Temporary happiness is there, off and on. Most of the time, we are under this I'm lacking something, I'm lacking something. So, a mumukshu is the one who develops a mumuksha or a desire to understand what is it that I'm lacking? Why am I lacking? What is the reason behind this feeling of lack that I'm feeling? How can I get over this? Is there something I can do about it? For this, what should I do? What should I know? So, this mumukshu has to become a jignasu. What is the meaning of jignasu? Somebody who wants to know. What is a mumukshu? A person who wants to be free from this samsara. What is a jignasu? To be free from this incompleteness or apurnatvam. What should I do? What should I know? Because the Shastra says the freedom from samsara is by knowledge, not by anything else. The Veda Purva says, I can prepare your intellect for the final knowledge, that's all, I can't do anything more than that. So, what is it that I should know to be free from this ever present lack in me, ever present apurnatvam in me? What is that knowledge? What is it that makes me understand what I'm supposed to know? And that is what is given in Vedanta. And how do I understand Vedanta? I have to surrender to the Guru and the Shastra. What is Shastra? Shastra means the Upanishads or the final portion of the Vedas called as Vedanta or Veda Shiraha, where this knowledge about the self, which is called by various names. It's called Paravidya, it is called Atmavidya, it's called as Brahmavidya. So it is that knowledge, Paravidya, the highest knowledge. Atmavidya, the knowledge of the self. Brahmavidya, the knowledge of that thing which is the only thing which is there in this Jagat, in me, nothing other than that. It is the knowledge of that one thing which you are and which everything else is. That knowledge I will give you, says Vedanta. But then, is that knowledge something which is so easy that I can just get it? No. Number one, I have to have the preparation of it. We have already seen what is sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, viveka, vairagya, shamadhi shatka sampatti, and mumukshutvam. I'm not going to go into that again because we have already studied that in Bhagavad Gita also we have studied. We have also studied it in Vivek Chudamani. We have studied it in some of the Acharyas, verses like, works like Bhajagovindam, Sadhana Panchakam. We have studied all these things. So it is the Veda Purva which prepares me with Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. Karma Yoga Bhavena, doing the same thing, prepares my mind, trying to clear my mind of impurities. And then Upasana Yoga or Upasana of what that is given in the Veda Purva, which Veda Purva or Karma Kanda helps me, prepares my intellect to receive this knowledge. And ultimately, with all these things also, am I independently capable of getting this knowledge of Vedanta? No. There are many people who think, I have had experience with such people who think that I know the language, I can read a book on the Upanishads and understand what an Upanishad is. That is not true. That is why in the Mundaka Upanishad Bhashyam itself, Bhagwan Shankaracharya says, Shastrajnyaha api Brahma Anveshanam Swatantriyena na kuryat. In the same Mundaka Upanishad, for which Bhagwan Shankaracharya has written a wonderful bhashyam, in the initial portion itself says, you may be a scholar in the language, you may be a scholar of Tarka and Nyaya and so many other things. But remember one thing, you may be a scholar, but Swatantriyena, independently, don't study any Upanishad. May you study the Upanishad under the guidance of a person who is capable of communicating it properly. It should be communicated properly. A person who can communicate the teaching properly alone is capable of giving what the Upanishad says. And how does this person who communicates, any person who communicates it correctly, get it? He or she gets it from his or her guru. This knowledge is something which has come through the parampara. Sampradaya with one has to be, because there's no question of having any kind of an independent thinking on the Upanishads. No, there's no question of any kind of an independent, talking about the Upanishads. Like, this is my opinion on this particular verse of the Upanishad, so I will. It's not so. Nobody can have an independent opinion on the Upanishadic verses. The Upanishadic verses mean a certain thing, and that is the only meaning. It is not available for different self interpretations. It has to be communicated and interpreted in a particular manner, which can be brought by only a parampara. That is why every Upanishad insists on a Guru Shishya parampara. It is only through that sampradaya. We start with the prayer. Dakshinasya Samarambha Shankaracharya Madhyama. We saw in Dakshinamurti Stotram Adi Guru, that is Bhagwan manifesting as Dakshinamurti, and Shankaracharya, a one link in the chain. Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara. So till then, that means it has to come in a parampara, a Guru Shishya parampara. The knowledge has to flow from a higher, the one with the higher, that means the one with more knowledge, to the lower one. Paravara, it is called. Here in we'll study that in Upanishad. How it has to flow from a higher to the lower. The higher para is the Guru, avara is the Shishya. Guru Shishya paramparataya, it has to come down. This knowledge has to come down. Therefore, when we study the Upanishads, it has to be studied with a person, with the guidance of a person who is capable of giving this, communicating it properly. And how? Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana Rupena. One has to be committed to it. What is Shravanam? Listening for a sufficient period of time, because we are not used to listening this. What we are used to listening is only what is there in the world outside. So one has to do a sufficient length of time, for a consistent period of time one has to spend in listening to the Shastra, Guru Mukhena Shastra Shravana. How long? It depends upon one's preparation. If you have done enough preparation in your previous lives, maybe in this life, Shravanam becomes easy for you. Otherwise, it may have to go on for long, long, long time, many lives. Vedanta is not meant for people who are in a hurry. There's nothing called as an instant moksha. There may be instant coffee, instant noodles, instant upma, everything, but there is no instant moksha. I have to do Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Naishchalam by Karma Yoga. I have to go to a Guru, expose my intellect to the Shastra through the words of the Guru. I have to do sufficient amount of Shravanam, sufficient amount of Mananam, sufficient amount of Nididhyasanam. It is not one life's process. It is the process of lives, lifetimes. But we have started somewhere. That is the advantage we have. One should not take this as a negative thing that, oh, who knows how long it takes. That is why Arjuna asked Krishna in the 6th chapter, he said, I give up, my getting happiness from Artha Kama Dharma Purusharthas, and I get into this Moksha Purushartha, but then I don't get this also in this life. I don't get moksha also in this life. I have lost the other thing also, the worldly things also. What happens to me? Ubhaya Brashta. I'm neither there nor here. So what does Krishna say? Lord Krishna promises that once you have begun this journey, this Kalyanatama journey, there is no loss for you, hey Arjuna. You're going to come back. All your papas are going to be held up, and all your punyas will fructify in such a way that your spiritual punya will help you to get birth into such a situation where you can continue forward where you have started. Your buddhi will pick up from the place where you have stopped. It's not as if next life we have to start again. No. Wherever you have left, that buddhi will be connected to that and you will start from where you have left. This is not a journey which stops with this body. No. I may get a different body, but then the same buddhi will be capable of continuing. Therefore, Vedanta is an effort of lives and lives. That's why we don't have people coming to Vedanta. We don't have people coming to Vedanta. Because who has seen moksha? How do you know that by understanding Upanishads I'm going to get moksha? Is there really any jnani there? What is the guarantee? And then people tend to lose that interest or commitment very soon. Because this is not something that is very easily understandable like an aparavidya. Even aparavidya is not easy to understand. There also you have to struggle. Apara means what? The worldly vidyas, the laukika vidyas. Also we have to struggle. But then we are not used to this vidya, Brahma vidya. Therefore we find that it is difficult. Really it is not difficult. What it requires is a commitment of time and effort from our side. And the study of the Upanishad also is something where we require a lot of patience, a lot of commitment, and a lot of time. It's not a question of just dabbling in it. It won't work. I have to really jump into it. I have to jump into it. I cannot dabble. I can't stay away and just superficially, put my feet into the water and sit. That's not possible. I have to really get into it. And then ultimately, what should I do? Guru Upasadanam. I have to see the Guru, meet the Guru, and stick with the Guru who is going to teach me this particular thing. And what is he going to teach me? He's going to teach me he or she is going to teach me the words of the Upanishad. What is Upanishad? We already saw that. But what is it? The words of the Shastra are also called Upanishad. Vedanta is also called as Upanishad. And what is Upanishad? I have already told you in Kathopanishad, but we have to recapitulate it. Upanishad has three words: Upa, Ni, and Shad. What is the meaning of Upa? Upa means that which is nearest to me, that which is none other than me, that which is me myself. Upa. Ni means what? Nishchaya Jnanam. Absolute knowledge of that which is nearest to me, that which is me, Upani. And what happens with this Nishchaya Jnanam? Absolutely clearly understood knowledge about that which is nearest or that which is me. What does it do? Shad means what? That which destroys my samsara. So the meaning of Upanishad is the absolute or nishchaya jnanam or knowledge about myself which completely dilutes or removes my samsara. Upanishad also means, Upa means Guru Upasadanam, going to a Guru, sitting at the feet of the Guru and learning what? This Nishchaya Jnanam about myself. And what does it do? This completely removes my samsara. So Upanishad can be talked about in two ways. Going to a guru who knows this, who knows how to communicate this, and then getting this Nishchaya Jnanam, which immediately, which ultimately, which absolutely releases me from my samsara. Or Upa means myself, the knowledge of myself, Nishchaya Jnanam, which releases me from this samsara. The Vedanta means the Veda Shiraha, or we can call it the final portion of the Vedas also, Anta. But Vedanta actually means the very core of teaching of the Vedas is in Vedanta. Here, Anta means that the Veda which has the ultimate core of teaching, which liberates, that is what is called as Vedanta. Positionally, yes, it is at the end of the Vedas. Because Vedanta cannot be number one. First has to be Veda Purva. Then only Vedanta comes. So from the point of its position, it can be said it is the last portion of the Vedas, the end portion of the Vedas or Vedanta. But actually what it means is that Vedanta is that which has the ultimate or the core teaching of the Vedas. That is Vedanta. And since Vedanta means that which is at the end portion of all the Vedas, Vedanta is, or Upanishads are there at the end of all the four Vedas. All the four Vedas. So Veda also has Upanishads. The Yajurveda, both the branches of Yajurveda, the Krishna Yajurveda and the Shukla Yajurveda, both have Upanishads at their end. Samaveda has its own Upanishads. Atharvana Veda has its own Upanishads, depending upon where they come in the Upanishad. Some of them are absolutely at the end. Some of the Upanishads may come in the Samhita portion, Aranyaka portion also, the earlier portions also. The Samhita Upanishads we call, Aranyaka Upanishads we call. And it is said that as many branches of Vedas are there, so many Upanishads are there. Each branch may have more than one Upanishad also. So it is said that there were more than 1000, there were many, many Upanishads. And we lost a lot of them because we lost a lot of branches of the Vedas. Because the Vedas were Karana Parampara. Karna Parampara means what? That which was given by, the Guru to Shishya through listening, to the word of mouth and listening. And over a period of time, many shakhas of the Vedas were lost. Many Upanishads were lost. And it is said that there are about 108 Upanishads which are available now in the various shakhas or branches of Vedas. And there are 10 Upanishads on which Bhagavan Shankaracharya wrote a commentary. Because unless we have a commentary on the Upanishads, it is very difficult to understand what is said. Sometimes the Upanishad can be so cryptic, absolutely cryptic. We just don't understand what it is meaning. And we need a guru of the highest order like Bhagavan Shankaracharya, who has written commentaries on all these Upanishads. Then there are sub-commentators who have written commentaries on this Bhashya to make it easier for us to understand in the form of Vartikas. Then there are other people who have written even what is called as, tippanis, various vyakhyanas on all these things. So all these acharyas make it easy for us to actually understand the meaning of what actually Upanishad says. The primary understanding of what the Upanishad says has to come from the Bhashyas. And we depend solely on the Bhashyas of Adi Shankaracharya. And depending upon which Veda the Upanishads belong to and where they come, the Upanishads can be called as the Mantropanishad and Brahmanopanishads. Mantropanishad means the Upanishad is in the form of hymns or in the form of, verses. Brahmanopanishad is that which is an explanatory, which is in the prose form. So that Upanishad which we are going to take up this time, the Mundakopanishad, is actually a Mantropanishad. And this Upanishad belongs to the Atharvana Veda, the Shaunaka Shakha of the Atharvana Veda. The Shaunaka Shakha of Atharvana Veda. And then here also, the Upanishad is nothing but a dialogue on Brahmavidya between the teacher and the student. It is a Guru Shishya Samvada because it is something which is coming from the Guru and going to the Shishya. And the Shishya is not a mere passive recipient of this knowledge. He is an active recipient of this knowledge who asks for this knowledge, who asks relevant questions, pariprashnas, relevant questions, surrenders to the Guru, asks for relevant, this knowledge and asks relevant questions. So the Upanishads are always a dialogue between a Guru and Shishya. And Mundakopanishad also is a dialogue between the Guru Angiras and the Shishya Shaunaka. And it is an Upanishad of about 66 verses. There are no Purva Pakshis here, that means no arguments about anything. Simple Upanishad starts from the Parampara, from where this teaching started, and goes up till Mahavakya. I have given a very long introduction today on the Upanishads itself, and from the next session we'll start the actual Upanishad from its Shantipatha. Om Nandantu Sadhaka Sarve Vinashyantu Vidushakaha Avastha Shambhavi Mestu Prasannostu Guru Sada Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkham Apnuyat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat.